without further ado, I'll turn it over to Matt.
How y'all doing? My name's Matt. I'm an alcoholic. Before I begin, I want to give a shout out to my TRC guys. Y'all don't know it yet. Some of y'all do, but I'm your homie. And the other treatment centers and sober living homes, it's good to see some of y'all's faces in here too. My journey in sobriety started last year at TRC, and you know, I come from the school of belief that God uses people in your life as vessels to carry a message to you. This time last year, I was beginning to change my thinking, and the guy that I'm going to be introducing tonight, he kick-started me in the journaling process, which helped me to do that. This is probably the fourth composition book I've filled up in 1 year. This man's a lot of other things to a lot of different people, but he started out as my counselor at Tony Rice Center. Now he's a good friend of mine that I call if I have questions about this program or about working with sponsees. I call him, I go visit him. You know, it means a lot to me, and I think I'm just going to let him tell his story, and that's all I got. His name's Lokey.
Thank you, Matt. I'm glad this thing, and you know, I'm not as tall as you are. I couldn't do all this damn stupid. My name's Tim, and I'm a recovered alcoholic. I love that word. It's used exactly 10 times in the first 164 pages, and they didn't put it in there just to make the damn book thicker. Book says, I could be restored to sanity. So, if my sanity needed to be restored, that meant hell, I was insane, right? My actions while under the influence of alcohol proved it. Before I get into all that shit, excuse me, I cuss, but I love Jesus, so, you know, we'll work that out. My sobriety date is June 6th, year 2000. Yes, I'm old. But this is very important to me. If your sobriety date is any different than mine, I hope those two dates never get any closer together or any further apart. An old-fashioned 12-step call was made on me. Now, I don't know if anybody even does them anymore. I kind of like doing them, you know. Carrying a message. I'm grateful for a lady named Lois Wilson. That was Bill's wife. I can't do that. Bill got sober. His sobriety date was December 11th, 1934. He spent 11 days up there in that town's hospital. Drunk, sick, and detoxed. When he came home, he knew that carrying the message was important. And this is where Lois comes in, bless her heart. Bill wasn't working. He wasn't making any money. He was broke. Now, I know what broke is. Bill was broke. But he'd go out every day and try to help the sick and suffering alcoholic. And he kept a little journal. Now, Lois, she was the only one working at the time. She was working at Macy's, standing on high heels all day long, every day. And she brought home the grand total of $19.35 a week. Bill rolled over in bed one morning, lit a cigarette, and said, Lois, I got to go out and get a job. I got to make some money. I got to bring some income into this house. He looked at her and he said, honey, look at here. I'll tell you, and I forget what the exact number was, but it was like 81 or 83 alcoholics. And he said, none of them have stayed sober. But I thank God for what she told Bill next. Now, you ladies, listen up, because a whole lot of y'all are the reason we're here. She looked at Bill and she said, Bill, you're right. None of them have stayed sober, but you have. And that's the importance of carrying the message. On June the 6th, the year 2000, I was sitting on a couch, soaked in piss, puke, shit, and blood and everything else. I had been drunk for 3 years after staying sober for 9. You know, I was looking back there in that cassette thing y'all got back yonder. Who still listens to cassettes any damn way? I found one where I gave a talk over here in 1992. And somebody said, hell, that was almost 30 years ago. Shit. You see, I did about a 9-year dog and pony show. Now, I'm going to bounce back and forth in my story. I hope y'all don't care. I didn't write nothing down. I just brought a book with me. I refer to myself, I ain't nothing special. I'm just a drunk with a book that found a way. And somebody knocked on my door and brought it to me. Now, I'm going to break some anonymity here. I don't really give a shit because I owe these 3 guys my life. One of them is no longer alive. Cody Harris, who happens to be the director of our facility now. Jim Edelman, God rest him. David Edelman, I'm sorry. And Jim Mettler. I was sitting on that filthy couch with a loaded pistol in my hand. And I'm suicidal, and I'm homicidal, and I'm batshit crazy too. I never met Cody a day before in my life. He didn't know me from Adam's house cat. I was trying to drink up enough courage to blow my brains all over the wall behind my couch. I was done. I was through living. I couldn't stand it. I'd done been drunk every damn day for almost 3 years. I was sick. I was miserable. No hope left. None. I had just buried my wife of 11 years, 2 weeks before this. And I was going to do it upright. You know, sometimes we get suicidal, we get fancy, we get pretty. I know probably ain't none of y'all ever thought of killing yourself. You ain't, okay. But I was going to do it upright. I had pictures of her all on the coffee table, and I had some damn candles lit, and I had some, I think there was music playing. Either that or I'm imagining it. But I'm fixing to do it now. I'm done. But you know what I was also thinking about? I had about that much left in a half gallon of that expensive ass whiskey, you know, that Kentucky Deluxe. And the thing I was worried about was, okay, after I blow my brains out, who's going to drink my whiskey? I was caught in a conundrum. I didn't want to leave it. Y'all, I'm a controlled drinker, okay? I never spilt a damn drop. I could fall down a damn flight of steps and never spill a drink, break every damn bone I got. I ain't spilling no whiskey. So I'm going to do this the right way. And Cody Harris, God bless him, he walked across that filthy ass floor in that filthy ass house truck. Now, he had never met me before, didn't know who I was. And he took that pistol out of my hand. That's a 12-step God. And Jim Miller kneeled in that filthy carpet, and he looked up at me, and he had this book in his hand. Not this one, but one of these. He said, Tim, you want to continue the drunk, or you want to get some help? That's what he said. That's a 12-step God. That was my last drink. June 6th, year 2000. I thank God for those 3 men, because I know God sent them to me. Now, I brought a bunch of guys over here with me. They didn't ride with me. I ain't got nothing big enough to carry them off, but they came over here with me. See, they's a captive audience. They can't leave till I do. Y'all can get up and walk out anytime you want. And you might want to before I get done. I got a tendency to run over, and y'all talked a whole hell of a lot up here before I got up here, so yeah, we'll all be here half the night. But anyway, this guy that had never met me, now I'm laying on a gurney, out of my mind crazy, out there at that old Becker County Hospital. And Cody Harris stood there with his hand on my shoulder for a solid hour, telling me everything's going to be all right. That's 12-step God. That's carrying the message. And it's a message I love carrying today. That saved my life. And it began a journey for me. But I think we're supposed to start at the beginning. When you watch a movie, you don't start at the end, do you? I took my first drink of whiskey when I was probably, hell, I don't know, 11, 12 years old, somewhere around there. I wasn't looking for nothing. I had plenty of Tonka trucks and G.I. Joes, and I still thought girls had cooties, so I wasn't looking for nothing. But all the adult males in my family, they drank, and they drank a lot. You know, they go out in the shop. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You see, I didn't get to see what happened in their homes after they left. But I got to see them having a good time with this stuff called whiskey. So I told myself, I got to try it. I got to. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Now, this is a meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I strictly follow that third tradition. Y'all don't mind, do you? I ain't going to talk about outside issue. So, Mom and Dad, they was going out on a Saturday night. And they took us kids, I'm the oldest of 4 children. And they took us to the babysitter. Well, on the way to the babysitter, I can still remember the label of this bottle. I could draw a picture of it. A half pint of very old Barton slid off under Dad's seat right down between my feet. And it ain't even had the seal break on it. So I thought, well, here's my chance. I want to show you what I found in that bottle in just a minute. Now remember, I wasn't looking for that. So I took that half pint and I stuck it down in my britches and pulled my shirt out over it. You know, I'm already sneaky and shit. And I go in the babysitter's house and I shoot right straight to the bathroom. And I locked the door. And I pulled that half pint and looked at it. And I took the top off of it and went, oh, good God. But I got to do it. I got to do it. Damn. That's just water. And then I took that drink. And I coughed and I spit and I choked all over that damn bathroom. But then you know what happened? A I'm gonna show you. This right here. That was it. That was it. I chased that feeling for the next 3 or 4 years. And found it every time I took a drink. Every time. When I graduated high school, during my time in junior high and my early high school years, there was this thing called Vietnam going on. And I wanted to be a damn hero. Yeah. So I joined. I joined my junior year in high school on what they call the delegate program. But you know, I didn't make it to Vietnam. I didn't go. And I was disappointed. Cause hell, all the troops come home before I ever went to basic training. I watched the fall of Saigon on TV and I thought, well, hell, there goes my chance. But you know, our government, and I'm not going to talk too much about this because it's still kind of a sore subject for me. I'm over it, but no, I'm not. Our government's got the world's, I don't know, they got this real awesome way of taking beautiful kids, teenagers, and turning them into stone cold killers and they send them home. I had this vision when I joined the Army. I was going to be a Ranger, and I went through jump school and did that. And that's an experience all in of itself. Me, you know how far it is down there to the damn ground? Me, okay. But I loved it. You see, I had this vision that I was going to come home and I was going to ride down Lane Parkway. That was a strip over in Shelbyville back in. And I was going to be in the back seat of a drop-top car, convertible, with last year's prom queen. And I was going to have a chest full of medals. Yeah. Y'all ain't never thunk of nothing like that, have you? We have visions of grandeur, don't we? And boy, I did. Visions of grandeur. You remember Bill in his book talked about, I was going to show the world I was important. Y'all read the book, don't you? Well, it's in there. Bill had these delusions of grandeur too. And I had them. But you see, I got one of those shit can discharges. You see, apparently they got a rule about if you are enlisted man, you ain't supposed to drink too much and hit an officer. You ain't supposed to do that. But he wanted to close the pool hall, and I was playing 9-ball, had money on the game, and I had some of that vodka courage, you know. So I got sent home with a general discharge under honorable condition, and I didn't come home no hero. The old Tunes bus station over there was the Tunes gas station was the bus station. I met my daddy there. I climbed off the bus at 1 o'clock in the morning, drunker than hell. So me and Daddy and Mama, we sitting around their kitchen table the next morning. And y'all probably did this too. Sitting in Mom and Dad's kitchen table making promises. I promise I'm going to do this. I promise I'm going to do that. And Daddy looked at me and said, boy, you need to get married and settle down. Well, I did half of it. Y'all know which half I did. I did the getting married part. I didn't exactly settle down. And I don't want to sound like I'm boasting or bragging, but I've treated God's daughters awful. and all you ladies are God's daughters, all of you. I've mistreated God's daughters in every way possible. I've abused them physically, sexually, emotionally, and every other kind of way. And I'm not proud of that, but I'm not going to lie about it either. And I'm not going to blame it on the alcohol. See, those were my actions. And I got to take, Big Book tells me I got to take responsibility for my actions. And I do. But you know, I remember one night I rolled this girl up. I rolled her up in a piece of old carpet. Yeah, we was fussing. I loved her. I rolled her up in a piece of carpet and poured gas in on top of her and told her she didn't shut her damn mouth. I light her up like a Roman candle. She left me for New York sewer cleaner. Can you, a guy like me? She was a waitress. And this company had come down to Shelbyville to work on our sewer system. And she met one of these old boys. His name was Chuck. Chuck. Not Chucky, Chuck. She left me. Damn. Now, was that right? Hell no. You don't do that to Tim Lokey. Don't you know who I am? You got a card? But you know something about old Chuck? You know what he did? He just kept the promises that I made. That's all. He gave her everything I promised I'd give her. Now, I didn't get to meet old Chuck till a few years ago. Barbara's sister passed, and I went to the funeral. Marie came with me. I ain't never rolled her up in no carpet, okay? Oh, I don't know why in the world God blessed me with his finest daughter. You hear me? If God made a woman better than that and sent her right there, he kept her in heaven for himself. And I hope you men feel the same way about yours. If you don't, you better. But anyway, as soon as I walked into the funeral home, I saw Barbara. And I knew that old gray-haired guy sitting next to her had to be Chuck. What else could I do? I walked up to him and introduced myself and shook his hand. I wanted to thank him for loving her and taking care of her the way she should have been took care of. Now, I got sober the first time. I don't even know if I'm going to call that sobriety. I'm just going to call that sober. The definition of sober in the dictionary is not drinking. And that's what I was doing. I was just not drinking. I got sober the first time, and I met this lady named Linda sitting at AA meeting. That's where we met. And I started working at this place called Buffalo Valley. I worked there for about a year, and then on July 1st, 1990, Tom and them decided they wanted to open the Tony Rice Center, so I started working there. I helped open the place. I was the first employee they hired. I didn't last. I worked there the first year and then went back to work at Buffalo Valley. Hell, I was putting on a good dog and pony show, people. That's all I was doing. I was just not drinking. That's all I was doing. Working steps. I wasn't doing none of that. I was just not drinking. And then see these character flaws that I thought was gone. Because you see the word remove is used in them damn steps twice. And I thought I didn't have no character flaw. On top of that, I'm a counselor. I'm a guide. I'm a damn guru. Well, hell, that's what I thought. See, there's some leaving already. Y'all have a good night.
Sorry.
I know y'all got kids. You got to take care of them. That's good. You know, we come in here and we get to become good mamas and daddies. Ain't that something? How many of y'all got kids right here? Don't be shy. Y'all reading. Y'all obeying the Lord. You see, your children deserve a clean and sober, happy, joyous, and free. See, that's the other part of that. There's 5 words in that. 6. Clean and sober. 7. Clean and sober, happy, joyous, and free. Not just clean and sober. You're already sober. Now what you gonna do? You see, your children deserve a clean and sober, happy, joyous, and free mom and daddy. But more importantly than that, you deserve the opportunity to be that. You do. One of the principles that I've hung on to was given to me by this old guy by the name of Jim Hawkins. God Almighty, he is the best teacher of this book I ever sat under. You see, every time I told that man one of the words, well, I think, or well, it ought to be this, every time those words come out of my mouth, you know, talking about me thinking, he'd look at me and he'd say, boy, who in the hell gave you permission to do that? Well, ain't nothing wrong with my thinking. What the hell are you doing here? Oh, okay. There was something wrong with my thinking. I had to do more than just put the damn drink down. I had to actually do this stuff. And I wasn't doing that. I had just put the drink down. And I put on that dog and pony show for about 9 years. And then I walked away from everything. Quit going to meetings. Quit that job over there. And one Sunday afternoon, I was mowing my yard. This is in 1997. And the thought crossed my mind. Probably ain't ever happened to you. But the thought crossed my mind. You know, I think I could drink a beer. Number 1, I don't like beer, never did. And number 2, I ain't never drank nothing in my life. I don't know how to do that. I can't eat one cookie. I don't know how to do that. You know, all the way down to that convenience store, I kept telling myself, boy, you're about to screw up. Your life's about to go in the toilet. And see, I knew that. And I done it anyway. This book says something about cunning, baffling, and power. And I spent the next 3 years sliding further and further towards hell. And I ain't talking about the kind of hell that the preacher talks about. Y'all know the kind of hell I'm talking about. You see, that place that the preacher talked about, I don't know about that one. But when it comes to hell, I've been there. So have you. If you're sitting in this room, you've been there. Ain't you glad to be out? You see, I don't know a whole lot about heaven either, except, you know, I kind of hope to get there. And my goal is to meet Jesus without whiskey on my breath. I hope I get to do that. I guess me and him won't have to talk about this cussing thing. But these steps were designed to change my thinking. And I made up my mind when I got sober this time, I was going to do more than just not drink. Because I knew that if I didn't change my thinking, y'all excuse me, I'm fixing to say another curse word. This little bastard up here, that's what I call him. I nicknamed him that. That's gonna be the name of my damn book too if I ever finish it. Now I don't know about getting no free copies. Um, but this little guy up here, I had to change. I could not change the fact that he lives there. I learned to live in recovery. You know what I had to learn how to do? I had to learn how to live with it. And I started out by looking in the mirror every morning and saying, looking myself in the eyes, and I thought it was the silliest damn thing in the world. You know what that damn counselor told me to do? He said, Tim, look in the mirror. I don't need that microphone. Tim, look in the mirror. Look yourself right in the eye and say the words, I love you, Tim Lokey. I said, well, what if I don't mean it? He said, it don't matter. Say it anyway. I still do that to this day. Because you see, if I start my day loving me, then I don't have a problem loving you. If I start the day loving me, then I can love others properly. You see, I'm never going to tell anybody you love alcohol more than you love your kids, because that's false. I just couldn't love properly. You see, you can't give away something you ain't got. That's what I heard. I ain't telling y'all. I ain't giving no advice. I'm just telling you what I was told. I was told when I told my story to tell my story. I ain't up here to tell y'all what to do. I'm here to tell y'all what I did. And that's what I did. I said those words until one very magical day. I looked in there and said the words, I love you, Tim Lokey, and I knew I meant it. Ooh. Them goosebumps. And my life changed dramatically from that moment. You see, I was full of resentments, anger, self-pity, feeling sorry for myself, hating the whole world. You know, at one time, I thought every police officer in this world was picking on me. Because, hell, I've been to jail in countries I couldn't even speak the damn language. But you understand, when they go to pulling out them sticks and them handcuffs, all they got to do is say, blah, 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 blah. And you know that means turn around and put your damn hands behind your back. You know that? Take my advice, and it's the only advice I'm going to give. Don't go to jail in Mexico. Don't do that. It ain't a good place for a guy like me to be. But I ended up there one weekend. You see, I thought the society had wronged me. You know, I was so damned important, the whole world just lined up to stab Tim in the back. I bet you ain't never thought that, had you? Come on now. Come on, man. When I took a good, honest look at myself in that fourth step, I discovered that every damn one of them stab wounds was self-inflicted. Every single one. And even in cases where other people had genuinely harmed me, I put myself in that position. I did that. Wow. I was molested as a child from the age of about 6 to 11. And I hated that man for more than 30 years, and I thought I had the right to hate. I thought I did. But you know, my hatred of him never changed him. He died in prison for molesting kids. My hating him didn't change him. It nearly destroyed me, you know. Nearly destroyed me. My hatred had no effect on him. And furthermore, that resentment, I love talking about this one because it's my favorite one. It was number one on my resentment list. You know that list. And I was blaming him for all kind of stuff he wasn't responsible for. I had it in my mind that I could not be faithful because of him. I always had to prove my manhood, didn't I? I blamed him for that. It wasn't his fault. It was me doing that. That was me lying and cheating and doing all that kind of stuff. That wasn't him, that was me. And you see, I've learned over the years that if I blame you for something, if I blame you, then I'm also telling the whole world that it's your responsibility to fix me. And it ain't no damn body's responsibility to fix me but mine. And I learned that in that fourth step. And one day, after I'd been sober about 18, 19 months, I knocked on this door. Still a free man at that time. He come around the porch and I could smell the booze on his breath. And I looked at him and I said, Ricky. And I meant what I said. I want you to know I forgive you from the deepest, bottomless depth of my heart. I meant that. And I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders because the biggest resentment in my life was gone. And then I did something that I was not planning on doing. Because of this. Because of this. Before I walked off that porch, I realized that I owed him an amends. I did. I had to apologize to him for hating him because it's wrong to hate. I don't care what the reason is to me. It's wrong to hate. Dr. King once said that hatred only serves to destroy the vessel it carries it. I was tired of letting hate destroy me. And I apologized to him for hating. I walked off that porch and I don't even know if I could feel the ground anymore. Now that's some of the stuff that this program is giving me. And if it'll do that for me, it'll do that for you. I learned the principle and the truth behind the word surrender. And I know it's in this book a couple of times. And one of my former sponsors, we were talking about that word one night because I thought, my ego didn't want me. Y'all don't think I got no ego, do you? I don't. We was talking about that word surrender. And he pulled out off his bookshelf a damn book about the Civil War. I said, now what in the hell has this got to do with recovery and living soberness? And he turned to the back of the book and I noticed a paragraph was highlighted. And it was General Lee's thoughts as he surrendered his sword to Grant at Appomattox in April of 1865. And these were his thoughts. He said the word surrender, this doesn't mean that we've been beaten. It doesn't mean that we're losers. It doesn't mean we've been defeated. This word surrender, it simply means the fight is over. And now it's time to rebuild. Boom. The fight is over. If you're in this room and you surrendered, the fight is over. And now it's time to rebuild. A sponsor tells me to keep this program dirt road simple. And I try to. I don't always accomplish that because I'm a human being and I've still got self-will. And boy, I can get in God's way quick, fast, and oh, it ain't got no lid on it. Maybe that ain't one. I say a little simple prayer every morning. I've been saying it for a little over 21 years now. I'm not going to change it because so far it's worked. God, please help me stay clean and sober today. Number two, God, please help me help somebody. And most importantly, God, please help me stay out of your damn way. And when I try to do that, I can stay out of God's way. But see, these character flaws I was telling you about, I also learned a new definition for the word remove. It didn't mean take away from it, it meant move from one place to another. That means in steps 6 and 7, what I'm trying to do is give these character flaws to God and let Him manage them so that I can respond to them differently. Hell, anybody that knows me knows I still get angry. Don't I? But I don't stay that way. And I don't punch holes in sheetrock anymore. That shit gets expensive. And it hurts. I've done that one time since I got sober, only I did not punch a hole in the wall. I was teaching class one day, and I was kind of getting a little pissed off because there's a few people not listening. And I went and slammed my damn fist down on the table, and I tore the whole end of this knuckle off the end of this bone. And now I've got a titanium plate with 4 screws in it holding that bone on. You know I ain't done that since then. That shit hurt. So I've learned how to respond to anger differently. And I got this thing called envy. I love Harley Davidsons. I got a good one. Best bike I've ever owned, the prettiest one anyway. But envy, my God, you let me walk into Bumpus Harley Davidson over there and see a pearl black 2021 Heritage Sawtail. Ooh, almost faint. But I don't respond to that envy character flaw. I don't respond to that envy by going down to the bank and getting myself $40,000 in debt. I get grateful for the one I got at the house. It's almost paid for. When I experience laziness, that sloth stuff, I try to get up off my ass and do something. Because it ain't good for me to be lazy. Oh, shit. In this day and time, you can't be making no loud noise. Yeah, I know you. And the one nobody wants to talk about, you don't. One of the subjects that screws more of us up, or used to screw me up more than anything else, this thing called sex. Let's just get it out there. I've learned to respond to lust differently. Yeah, oh yes, it still happens. And I'm old, I know it. I'm 63, but my eyes still work pretty good. Today, I appreciate the fact that God has made some pretty daughters. But I absolutely love the fact that I get to go home to the best one. I don't act out on that like I used to. I've learned to respond differently to character flaws. I've still got every single character defect I walked into the Tony Rice Center with. And I'll have them as long as I live and breathe and be a human being. You know something I found out? We ain't Power Rangers. We're not going to bump this and morph into something else. I'm stuck with this. I'm going to be this the rest of my life. I better get used to it. You young'uns in here, God bless you. I hope you keep coming up in here. I hope you stay here. I hope someday, somewhere around your 63rd birthday, you can walk up here to one of these podiums and get you a medallion for about 40 years. Wouldn't that be something? All we got is today. The most important moment you and I will ever have is the one we're having right now. Because anybody in here promised another one. All we got is right now. And in a moment it'll be gone. The only thing I can do about my past is accept it and learn from it. I heard somebody say a while ago, there's two great motivators, pain and love. Pain and love. 4th step. I was told, and I don't know how true this is, and I don't know if it was this way for y'all, but my 4th step hurt my damn feelings. Ooh-wee. Because I discovered it wasn't about the booze. Booze didn't have a damn thing to do with it. There was something unsatisfactory deep down in here, and I had to pour booze on top of it to make it feel better for a little while. That's what that was all about. So it wasn't about the booze. I had to take a chisel and dig down in here and find out what the problem was. And I discovered the problem was me. I'd be damned. Like, I just had laser surgery on both my eyes. You know what's real cool? I walk into a room and everybody done changed the damn light bulbs. Everything, but I can read now. So I can drive at night now. She don't let me yet, but I can drive at night. The blessings that recovery has brought me are too many to count. I used to live under a bridge. I'm a homeowner. I love a wife. I got 3 dogs, a cat, and 2 fish. My little dog Trixie, she's the only one of them that likes me. She's a little chihuahua. And I won't show you how much God loves me, or I won't tell you how much God loves me. Sometimes she'll crawl right up here and lay right here and trust me enough. God trusts me enough with this beautiful little creature. She lays her head right here and goes to sleep. And she got the cutest little snore. That's how much God loves me. God loves me enough that I get to wake up beside the prettiest thing I'm going to see all day. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I get to wake up at my own bed and the damn floor ain't spinning. I don't have to put my foot out on the floor. Make it stop. Y'all getting ready for me to quit, ain't you? Y'all tell me something.
Don't attack it on you.
I don't know how to stop. When I start talking about what God and His fellowship has done for me, come on. I could talk all night. I'm not going to, I promise. I know y'all got shit to do. She's got to get up at, what, 4:30 in the morning? 3:30, 3 o'clock. Yeah, she got to go to work. Tomorrow's my day off. I'm going to get sleepy. God loves me enough. I get to spend all day, every day, around the finest group of men that God ever made. Because there ain't no better man than a man that's trying to better himself. And I get to see that. I get to be around that every single day. And they will help me far more than I will ever help any single one of them. And you know, my old sponsor told me, he said, you know, recovery ain't about liking shit. Imagine that. I discovered I don't have to like everything. Here's a revelation. I don't like all y'all. Okay? I don't have to. But I love you, man. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. That's what God commands me to do, and that's what I do. I love you. I don't particularly care if you like me or not, but I know you love me. I know you do. I can feel it just crawling all over me in a good kind of way. I've been to AA meetings as far south as Anniston, Alabama. Yeah, that's down there right close to where Alabama is. And I've been as far west as LA, California. And every meeting I've ever walked into, I felt right at home. Because I knew I was in a room full of people just like me. A room full of people just like me. I don't hang around the old honks and honky tonks and God Almighty, I didn't talk about all of them. Be grateful. Do y'all know there was a story in the back of the third edition Big Book that was called A Five-Time Loser Wins. Well, that was written by Mr. Morris Barbour. He's dead now, so you can break his anonymity. He wrote that story. You know, I had the privilege of talking to him once on the telephone. I've got a letter in my big book that he wrote me. And one of the things he said in that letter, he said, Tim, stay on the vine, stay green. If you don't, you'll fall to the ground and rot. That made a lot of sense to a country boy like me. And my granddaddy, I heard him say once, he used to fool a hog when he wasn't making whiskey. He said, boy, if you're going to keep the water clean, you got to keep the pigs out the damn creek. Makes a lot of sense. Keep it simple. Them old timers, they said keep it simple. I'm going to read this and I'm going to shut up. Okay. I love y'all. I love what y'all have done for me. I owe y'all everything. I do. And it's a debt I'll never live long enough to repay. You know, on May 10, 1935, Bill Wilson knocked on the door in there at Stuyvesant's Gatehouse where he was about to meet Bob Smith for the first time. He knocked on that door. Dr. Bob stuck his hand out. Bill did this. He said, Dr. Smith, my name's Bill Wilson. I'm an alcoholic. I'm not here to help you. I'm here to help me. Carrying a message. You carry the message. I was told that if you carry the message will carry you. How about that? Ain't that some shit? You know, there's times when my legs don't work real well. Not just because I'm old, but because I'm tired. And carrying the message has helped carry me. The title of this is Demon Sleep. It's one of my favorites. I like to write sometimes. There are pent-up emotions that I cannot control, so I throw up my hands and say, what the use? In my mind, it doesn't matter anyway, because my demon looks for any excuse. This demon of mine would love to tear me down and awaken the fool for a world to see. A bewildered, beaten, and frightened man the way I used to be. Hellish nightmares are drawn from my past. I'm often reminded of my darkest day, trapped within this pit of maddening fear. Fear, you got that? Big Book says fear ought to be classed with stealing, but it causes more problems. And trapped within this pit of maddening fear is where my demon loves to play. Once too often I've known its torment, where my soul knows nothing but pain. And inside this nightmare, my demon laughs, where it tempts me once again. You may have this one, come on. I'm on my knees. and grateful prayer. I silently, oh shit. I silently start to weep. For I gave my demons to my God. And God put my demons to sleep. Thank y'all. Thank you.
All right,
Y'all.
let's give him one more round of applause. That was incredible.